Hello everyone, Gianluca Massi speaking from Rome on the behalf of the Virtual Telescope project. It's such a big pleasure for me to be here sharing with you such a wonderful and natural event that is the relatively close approach by the asteroid Apophis. I have to say this at the very beginning that the sky tonight here in Italy is cloudy, so unfortunately I cannot share as I wanted, as I wished, live images of this asteroid as we have been doing many times with other asteroids, but luckily I could image Apophis the past night, so I will be showing you a few images and also a previously unreleased animation showing the asteroid moving across the sky. At the very beginning, when I saw the clouds up there, I was going to decide to cancel this event and actually to reschedule it for the next night or maybe on Monday night, but something happened making me changing the idea. I received a very sad news earlier today, that is that one of the discoverer of asteroid Apophis, Roy A. Tucker, passed away a few hours ago. So it is very sad for me to report this. I have been in touch with Roy several times over the past 20 years, so also to honor his memory, I decided to run this shorter version of our live feed under cloudy conditions. So may Roy rest in peace, and he was one of the co-discoverers of this asteroid. I'm very sad after learning this because this is a huge loss for the astronomical community. So may Roy rest in peace, and I really hope that his legacy will stay alive also with the young people as a bright example of enthusiastic and huge dedication to science and astronomy in particular. That said, I really want to share with you a few things about this asteroid, as the potentially hazardous asteroid Apophis, as well as a few things about asteroids in general, and I hope that despite the clouds you will find the original images I will share with you in a few minutes of interest. Anyway, let's talk a bit about this object. Perhaps the asteroid Apophis, potentially hazardous asteroid Apophis, is the most famous object of its kind, and it is interesting to start describing its name, basically its definition as a potentially hazardous object. I have read many things, mainly wrong things about this asteroid, telling that it was going to hit us these days, in the past, in the future. Every moment is good to have Apophis doing something bad against us. But keep in mind that when we call it a potentially hazardous asteroid, we are saying potentially. It just means something very special, something very precise in the astronomical language. We call potentially hazardous asteroid any object which is larger than more or less 140 meters and able to come closer than 7.5 millions of kilometers. And this is a definition, a formal definition, and Apophis is just satisfying both those conditions and many other objects out there. What is making Apophis very famous is the coincidence that when it was discovered in June 2004, for a while we had the impression that it was going to have an impact with our planet in 2029, that is 8 years by now. But later new observations, further observations made possible for us to have a better knowledge of its orbit, making clear that nothing bad will happen in 2029, and we are of course we will be in very safe conditions that year, that is 8 years by now. But that evening in April 2029 the asteroid Apophis will come incredibly close anyway, about 31,000 kilometers, that is closer than the geostationary satellites, and on that night 13 April 2029 it will be visible by naked eye. So keep an eye to this event, just save the date on your agenda, and next April 2029 have fun with asteroid Apophis for sure. But now I want to show you a few images of this object I was able to capture earlier this month. Actually, I will start with an image I captured in February. Here it is, this object, and I will tell you a bit more. As I told you, this asteroid is famous because for a while, soon after it was discovered, when we had just, marginally known orbit, there were a few chances it could collide with our planet in 2029, when it will have a spectacular, amazing, extremely close flyby with our planet. And at the time, the uncertainty we had on its orbit made possible to contemplate the odds of a collision, which was eliminated soon after when new observations made possible for us to calculate a much more accurate orbit. So I repeat, nothing is going to happen in the future into 2029 with this asteroid. This one is quite large for an asteroid coming that close. It has a diameter around 350 meters, and this is quite huge. And as I told you, in 2029 it will be visible by naked eye at its minimum distance, when it will be closer than the geostationary satellite, that is around 31,000 kilometers. Very short distance, trust me. And that will be honestly very spectacular. In this image you can see Apophis pretty well. As I told you, this image was captured in February, 15th of February, last February, so a few weeks ago basically. And I did this image using one of my robotic telescopes here in Italy, and you can see that the object marked by an arrow is a very sharp bright dot, while all around you see some stars, many stars actually, just showing some short trails. What happened there is that our telescope, our advanced telescope, was asked to track Apophis while it was moving across the stars, relatively slow as you can see. And of course, if you track the moving target, the asteroid, the stars out of the ground will appear as streaks. This is what happened there, and that is asteroid Apophis. I repeat, it is called potentially hazardous asteroids, as many others, because that is a formal definition, and every object larger than 140 meters more or less and coming closer than 7.5 millions of kilometers is flagged as a potentially hazardous asteroid. And this is not telling us it is going to collide, to hit our planet. This is valid for Apophis, but it is valid for every object belonging to this class, the class of the potentially hazardous objects. So keep in mind that the potentially word in this definition is perhaps the most important. Of course, when we know that an asteroid is larger than a given size and it is able to come closer than a given limit, it is better to have to keep an eye on it, to closely monitor it and track the evolution of its orbit. And in fact, Apophis is a very, very special object because it will have future close approaches. As I told you, the most spectacular one will be in April 2029, so not far actually from today, 8 years by now. And on that special night, it will be visible by naked eye. I'm not joking, because it is large enough, 350 meters, and it will be so close, closer than geostationary satellites. Minimum distance is around 31,000 kilometers, that your eyes, without any telescope, without any binoculars, will be enough to spot this dot of light across the sky, and you will see it moving across the stars with your own eyes. It is quite a unique experience in our life, and it is extremely rare to have such a show up there. So save the date, as I told you. And again, I repeat, this asteroid is the one you see in the very center of the image, and I could image again this object a few nights later, and here it is, another image. This one captured March the 2nd, as you can see from the caption there, again using my robotic telescope here in Italy, in Ceccano. I live in Rome, but my observatory is about 100 kilometers south of Rome, under much better skies than the city of Rome, and I can of course control all the telescopes there remotely, so I find this very funny that the telescope is 100 kilometers away from me. I am here and you are somewhere on this beautiful planet, and sharing this is for me such a huge, great, exciting experience. We have been doing this since 2006, so we are here around, we have been around for 14 years, and we are very happy every time we can bring something special to you from the universe, far or close, as in this case, but not very close this time, because this time asteroid Apophis is coming relatively close, as I said, as I wrote on our website, because in this very moment, I should say in 1 hour, the minimum, the nominal minimum distance will be reached at this passage in about 1 hour. This asteroid will stay at about 16 millions of kilometers from us, more or less 1/10 of the distance we have between the Earth and the Sun. You can understand this is a huge, absolutely safe distance, so I really don't understand how someone could say that we were going to have troubles with Apophis this time. This is absolutely false, and I can also tell you that nothing bad is going to happen in 2029, when we really have a brushing asteroid that is Apophis again coming back and really setting a record as the minimum distance we will have in that approach. But this one, the one we are having today, is of course the closest approach from now to that epic event in 8 years by now. So after all, even tonight it is a very special event, also because we can talk about this very famous object, my friends. And again, I want to show you another image coming. This is the last image I have before clouds made impossible for us to collect more. This is from basically 2 nights ago, March 3rd, the 3rd of March, you can see, and again there is an arrow there marking the object, and again the telescope tracked the asteroid. This is why you see it as a sharp dot of light, while stars are apparently drifting on the background. But of course it is the asteroid moving across the stars. Well, it is orbiting around the Sun, and of course as an effect of that orbit, while we are orbiting again, also our planet is orbiting around the Sun, but the combination of our motion with the motion of Apophis against the starry background is offering us this sensation of movement. But if you track the moving object, that is Apophis in this case, the starry background will result as a collection of trails, as you can see. I find this extremely funny. I also want to show you, by the way, the orbit of this object to make clear you understand where Apophis is located. Here it is. Well, as I told you, this object, potentially a Hazardous Asteroid, discovered by Roy Tucker, who passed away today, and I was extremely sad to hear about his death, a death of a friend. I have been in touch with him over the last 20 years, and Roy Tucker discovered this object in June 24 together with Dave Tolan and Fabrizio Bernardi, and they made such a huge discovery, one of the most important asteroids ever discovered, because it triggered some discussion, it triggered some questions that made possible to planetary science to evolve, to improve, even handling the communication about critical objects and the impact topic. This is something very important, because it is also important to understand how to handle the potential risk of an impact and how to communicate it. And this is very special object, just I mean, making possible for us to learn how to handle all this, not only the science but also the communication. But really making this very clear, I want to tell that nothing is going to happen tonight. Apophis is relatively close, but very far away from us, about 16 millions of kilometers. So please don't call this a short distance. It is already huge, 1/10 of the Earth-Sun distance, the astronomical unit. So 1/10 of the huge distance between the Sun and the Earth is still something huge and safe, luckily. But in 2029, this 350 meters large asteroid, potentially a Hazardous asteroid, will come extremely close, safely again, but coming closer than geostationary satellites, and it will be visible by naked eye. I cannot imagine the show how impressive it will be to spot such an asteroid that close. Again, I want to show you, I want to comment a bit more about this image. As you can see, this is just the inner solar system. It is very simple. You have the Sun, you have Mercury, Venus, planet Earth, and Mars. And you can see also the orbit of Apophis. Apophis belongs to the Aten family. To the Aten, it is, there are a number of asteroids just coming close to our planet. I should say that asteroids are an important component of our solar system. We know a lot of them, but most of them, the largest part of them, are moving in a very special and safe region of the solar system between Mars and Jupiter, a region we call the asteroid belt. And we are not worrying about those asteroids. They are very, very far away. But there is a small fraction, and with an absolute number of interest, several tens of thousands of objects able to reach the inner solar system. That is, they are moving on orbits, bringing them in the inner solar system, exactly where our planet is. And they can cross, they can approach the Earth orbit, they can cross the Earth orbit. And it is quite obvious that those objects approaching or even crossing Earth orbits are of special interest because they can potentially impact with us. And of course, those close approaching asteroids are not the same. They are different. Some are moving on orbits, really bringing them very close or crossing the Earth orbit. Okay, and Apophis is of very particular interest. It belongs to the Aten class among the near-Earth asteroids, and as you can see, its orbit is largely inside the Earth orbit. So Apophis, as any Aten asteroid, spends most of its time inside the Earth orbit. And you can see it is also basically crossing the Earth orbit in 2 points, and this graphic is making this very clear. This is why an asteroid of this type is of particular interest for astronomers studying this topic and also evaluating the impact risk. And as I told you, soon after its discovery in 24, Apophis for some days had a significant impact probability associated to the 2029 flyby. Luckily, some later observations that year made possible for us to have a better orbit, to improve our projection in the future, and our impact probability dropped to 0, and making us very, very happy. But recently it has been studied again, this object, and we understood that there are some extremely small probabilities in a future flyby encounter with this object in 2068, where there is a marginally very, very small probability of collision with our planet. But please understand what I'm saying here. I'm saying that we have a very, very small probability that in 2068 this object can collide with the Earth. But I'm not telling you it is colliding, because that very, very small probability is basically telling us that we still need to understand, to know the orbit of Apophis a bit better, to calculate better what will happen in basically 45 more or less years by now. And we are pretty sure that once we will have that orbit well better defined, that probability 2 will drop to 0. But for this we have to wait for 2029, because that very extremely close flyby will change the orbit significantly for this object, and just after that we will have such an orbit to evaluate in a I would say in a conclusive way the situation for 2068. So the very, very small probability left for that far flyby in 2068. We have a lot of time from here to there, sorry, and we will be able to calculate, and I'm pretty sure that it will drop to 0. The surviving probability we have now is just expressing our poor knowledge of the orbit of Apophis after the flyby of 2029. So it is just, I would say, of mathematical interest. This is my personal own opinion, and I was really I find so funny that so many people are referring that Apophis is so dangerous, is really against us, but this is absolutely false. This is an object, an asteroid, and every asteroid is precious because it is offering us an opportunity to learn about the ancient times of the solar system, because we know that asteroids are something which is left since the origin of our solar system, because planets, you have to think of asteroids as bricks in a wall, and those asteroids by collisions built the large planets, and the asteroids surviving are the leftover of that pristine material from where planets were built. So studying asteroids is basically studying the prehistoric era of our solar system. They have plenty of secrets to unveil to better understand what happened around the sun for planetary formation about 4.6 billions of years ago. So we really love asteroids, my friends. So we are lucky that asteroids are there as ancient history museums to learn, but also they are precious sources of precious resources, and in the future we will be mining asteroids as well, and they will be even more precious for understanding the solar system, and hopefully also for improve our life on this planet. And we are really learning how to handle and mitigate even impacts, even the impact risk, and we will see also some special space missions in the future, just testing some mitigation techniques, and because we want to be ready next time an asteroid will show the intention to collide with us, as they did, for example, 65 millions of years ago at the time of the dinosaurs. And I also want to show you something very special. This is an animation that I hope you will like, that I did, putting together a few images like a time lapse I captured on April 3. You can see there is also an artificial satellite at some point leaving a vertical trail, but you can easily see the asteroid Apophis in the very center as it is moving against the stars. Actually, the asteroid, the telescope tracked the asteroid, so you see all the stars moving from the upper left to the bottom right, but it is the object in the center, the asteroid we are tracking, that is Apophis. And I hope that you are enjoying also this quick animation, and I was happy to have these things available. I've been tracking Apophis also years ago. It was 2013, the previous time it was around, and I also wanted to track again this fascinating object this time. Unfortunately, clouds decided to have a look too, so they covered the sky here in Italy, and I could not open my observatory and share, as I really wanted, live images of the object. But still, I can share with you this original imagery and footage with you, and hopefully they will bring to you the same feeling, the same emotion. So I think we said some interesting things about this object. I repeat, Apophis is a potentially hazardous asteroid, as we have many more belonging to the same class, potentially hazardous asteroids. It is just a formal definition for asteroids larger than 140 meters and coming closer than 7.5 million kilometers. If you are larger than that and you are approaching planet Earth closer than that, you deserve this flag. You deserve this definition of potentially hazardous asteroids. The diameter of Apophis is estimated to be 350 meters, so it is quite large. And as I told you, in 2029 it will come closer than geostationary satellites, making that flyby epic, because it will be visible, the asteroid, by naked eye, and you will be able to track, to see it moving, slowly moving with your own eyes across the sky. And this is something not happening every day, my friends. But trust me, nothing dangerous is going to happen this time. Nothing dangerous is going to happen in 2029 and in the future. We have a mathematical, interesting surviving probability, marginal probability of collision in 2068, but I explained to you that this residual probability is just an expression of our ignorance about the orbit of Apophis after the dramatic flyby, safe but saved flyby of Apophis in 2029, my friends. I'm just checking the weather again. Unfortunately, no. I'm just checking if the weather, for a miracle, weather improved, but this is not the case. Still very cloudy at the observatory. When I say to you that there is a marginal, very marginal probability, mathematical probability of impact from Apophis in 2068, I mean 1 in 380,000. So you can really understand how small, but I repeat, this is a residual probability that we will be solved, and it will drop to zero for sure after 2029, after the orbit will be known in great accuracy, because it will be after the dramatic changes that we will have on the orbit because of the strong perturbation the object will have from the Earth after the extremely close flyby. That said, my friend, I'm going to close this live feed, even if cloudy. I was happy I could share with you some original imagery and footage grabbed the night before, and I was very sad that this happened when Roy A. Tucker, one of the co-discoverers of Apophis, passed away earlier today. Very sad, and as I told you, I was going to cancel this live feed and reschedule it for Monday evening, when hopefully it will be clear. But in order to honor the memory of Roy, a friend and a great astronomer, I decided to share these archive images, and just to honor him and his important discovery made with Dave Tolan and Fabrizio Bernardi. Those three astronomers discovered Apophis in June 24. So my friends, at this point I really want to thank all of you for joining this live feed, and I hope you had fun despite the clouds. I will try to reschedule this for Monday evening. I suggest you to check tomorrow the Virtual Telescope Project website to learn the precise date and time for the rescheduled event, hoping in clear skies that night. That's all. I want to thank also the technological partners of the Virtual Telescope Project, Unitron Italia Instruments, Software Bisque, C-Web, and I also want to thank all the international media which featured our live feed, making possible for you to learn about this opportunity. But we love nature, even when it brings clouds over there, making it possible for us to observe what we wanted to see, what we wanted to share. We respect Mother Nature. That's all from Gianluca Masi, Rome, Italy, director of the Virtual Telescope Project. Stay tuned. I suggest you to subscribe our Facebook page to learn about our future event. By the way, on March 22, we will be covering another interesting, potentially hazardous asteroids. You will hear a lot about it in the next days, perhaps reading many wrong things. The asteroid is 21 FO32, which is coming relatively close, quite close I would say, for an asteroid of the size, but in a very safely way. Anyway, subscribe the Virtual Telescope Project page, and you will stay up to date. You will stay tuned with us, ready to live for other fantastic journeys across the sky. Have a very nice day, a very nice evening and night, and stay safe, take care of yourself in these very difficult times worldwide. But keep looking at the stars, because this will bring joy to you and excitement. Again, thank you very much, and if you can, please support the Virtual Telescope Project, because we offer all these things for free, but we survive thanks to solicited donations. And if you want to support us, you are truly welcome to do this. And for this, just visit our website at virtualtelescope.eu. Bye bye, take care, see you soon.